Welcome back to the Perkins Perspective. I'm Denny. I'm going to tell you a story today, whew, Lord, uh, about myself and some of my misgivings and some of the problems that I've had over the past couple of weeks. You see, I've had my tractor now for about 9 years, 8 or 9 years. I got it paid off this past winter, and I was so proud that I got that thing finally paid off, sent in the last payment, and I swear before the Lord in heaven, I think Mahindra knew that I paid that last payment, because just as soon as I got it paid and it cleared the bank, the tractor wasn't cranked. Well, it was too cold to mess with it then, so I got out there a couple of weeks ago and started messing around with it and see if I could figure it out, because it's kind of expensive to call out the my tractor guy. And I got out there and I started diagnosing and figuring it out. I figured out that when I turned the key over, fuel pump wasn't cutting on. So I said, well, maybe the fuel pump's bad. So I ordered a fuel pump for it. And then I got to looking into some of the tractor guys online and started looking at YouTube videos. And they told me to check something else. They told me to try to crank it and crank it, crank it, fill the solenoid, and if it got burning hot, maybe the solenoid was bad. So I went ahead and ordered one of them too, just to be on the safe side. Well, the parts came in. I went ahead, I changed the fuel filter, the air filter, did all that too, got all that taken care of. And then I started to change out the fuel pump. I said, well, the fuel pump is just right there. So it's going to be the easiest thing to fix first. And if it fixes it, fixes it. Well, I'm not a mechanic. I didn't know what would happen, what was going to go on. So I pulled the fuel line off the fuel filter. All of a sudden, here comes fuel everywhere. So I put the fuel line back on real fast, ran, got my jug, brought it over there, and stood, just sat there and emptied the whole fuel tank, and it was full. I ended up with my gas and my fuel can full and a old mop bucket about half full. And because I didn't think nothing of it, I thought, well, okay, this is what it's supposed to do, I guess. I don't work on it. Well, my uncle who lives next door come over and he said, what are you doing? And I told him what I was doing, that I was changing out the fuel pump and going to change out the solenoid. He said, well, why is all the fuel on the ground and in this bucket and over here? I said, well, and when I took the fuel line off, it just started going. He said, why don't you use those vice grips over there, pinch it shut, and then close it off? People, I felt like the dumbest man on the face of the earth. I did. I did. I felt quite stupid because that option was there, and I was too dumb to take it. But anyway, we'll keep going. I got the fuel pump changed out, got all the fuel put back in, uh, tried it, still the same thing. Nothing. I couldn't hear the new fuel pump cut on. I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. Well, I went ahead. In order to take the solenoid off mine, you've got to take a reservoir off. You've got to take the throttle cables all off of it. You've got to move this. You've got to move hoses. I got all that done. Had to have a special tool to get the solenoid off because it's in a spot that's got this much room in it. Well, I didn't have anything. I went up to our local parts store. We got everything that we could think of there that would get to it. Nothing worked. So I went to Tractor Supply the next day and I found a ratchet type pipe wrench. I said, I think I could fit this on the bottom of that lock nut and get it off. Sure enough, it worked. Of course, I was out in tools nearly $100 that I'll never use again, probably. And I got it off. Well, I got the solenoid backed off. It took 30 minutes because there's no room in there to get your hands in there to do it. So I got it off finally, got it all unplugged, got it off, got it out, checked it. Sure enough, the backside of the solenoid, see, 2 years ago, rats got up in it and ate my wiring harness out, and I had to put a brand new wiring harness on it. Called my cousin. He came to my rescue. Michael, thank you again, and I love you still. He came out and he fixed it for me and rewired that thing from the rooter to the tutor. All of it had to be redone. We got that done. Well, we didn't think to check the little stuff. Well, that solenoid had been bit into and it was bare wires, and the bare wires were bumping up against each other, and I could see where they were rubbing. So I went ahead and changed out that solenoid and put a new solenoid on it. Got it all set, got everything done. I said, okay, that's got to get it now. Turned it over, nothing. No, the fuel pump wasn't cutting on, nothing was happening. By this time, I done got so mad. My mother walked up and I said, Mama, you might want to leave because I'm about to take what's left in that fuel can, pour it over the top of this, and let it be like Blake Shelton's video, God's Country, and just watch it go up. And she said, no, you can't do that now. We can't, we need the tractor. So I said, well, I'm just going to go ahead and do the only other thing I know to do. I went and bought fuses and changed every fuse in it just to make sure every fuse is brand new in the thing. Still nothing. Well, I gave up and I called my tractor man. He got here the next day and I was already under there trying to figure out what was going on. He looked at me and he just started laughing. He said, I've been there before and I know that look. He said, let me see what I can do. In about 5 minutes, he had the same look on his face. He said, what in the crap is going on? This ain't supposed to happen. Well, he unplugged the fuel pump off of it, used his little tools, and when he would straight wire it straight to the battery, fuel pump would cut on. When he took it off and we plugged it back into the harness, nothing. We sat there and we tried to figure out, I said, do you think because this is made in China, knowing it was made by a bunch of 8-year-old kids on an assembly line over there because they don't care, I said, do you think maybe they wired the harness backwards? He said, I just had the same thought. He cut the old wire, the new wiring harness off, got the old fuel pump, cut the wiring harness off it, put them together, plugged it in, fired right off. Yeah, that was $170. So all in all, with me going to do it, I could have got him to do it, and he said it would have been about $200 for him to do every bit of it. Well, all in all, me trying to save money, it was $170 for him to come out. It was $100 for the tools that I bought. The solenoid was $40. The fuel pump was $12 because it's a cheap one. But all in all, I would have saved money to have called him out in the first place and saved my ulcers. So, but what I'm telling you that for is so you know there's nothing wrong with trying to do things on your own. Learn. You can always learn. You're never too old to learn anything. Learn how to do some things but always have a backup plan. I've got a car guy, and that's Derek, and I've got my tractor guy. And I tell you what, between them two, they have saved me a lot. Y'all listen to what this story teaches, and I hope you get something out of it, and I hope it tickles you because I wish you could have seen me. I was running around with that fuel coming out of that thing looking like a chicken with his head cut off. And then I'm over here doing this and nothing's working over here, and I'm trying to get it, and I've done battered up my hands, and I'm about lost what little bit of religion I got left. But I made it, and the tractor's running good now. I have figured out that the new fuel pump is putting too much fuel in it at the start when you got to, warm up your glow plug. So, but luckily it's getting warm weather, and I don't necessarily have to do that anymore. But anyway, I hope y'all have a good day. I hope everything you want in life comes to you, but I hope you work hard to get it. And as always, if you're going to be dumb, you better be tough. Y'all be good.